January the 23rd, 2015. My name's Chris Brutlinger-Grant.
And I'm Amarcon.
We're coming to you from the BCIT campus in Burnaby, British Columbia. Friday before the Super Bowl, we'll see the Seattle Seahawks take on the New England Patriots. Hashtag Deflategate, hashtag shrinkage are a couple of big things that are going on right now on Twitter. Amar, what are your thoughts on all this?
Honestly, I'm hoping that the Patriots do get some serious consequences against them. And personally, being a Colts fan, I'm hoping that Bill Belichick is suspended for the Super Bowl.
For those of you who are listening who are not entirely into football, as you know we are, Deflategate is about, well, the New England Patriots absolutely obliterated Amar's Indianapolis Colts team in the AFC Championship. Something came out of that game in that, it was alleged that the New England Patriots used footballs that were not entirely inflated throughout that game. And when it's super cold, people might also not know this, but when it's super cold, footballs are easier to grasp, hold on to, and catch.
And also run with. So if you're throwing to receivers like Rob Gronkowski, if they get the ball and they're able to make plays, it's easier for them to hold the ball and not have the ball kind of hawked out of their hands. The NFL launched an investigation, and they found that 11 of the 12 balls in the first half, the quarterbacks' footballs anyways, were deflated under the regular PSI or the minimum, providing an athletic advantage for Tom Brady to find receivers and make it easier. I mean, to be honest, in the third quarter, he came out and he went 9 for 9. So not holding anything against him, but it did give him an athletic advantage and make everything a lot easier for him.
Now, something that's also important to note is that it isn't necessarily feasible to blame this on the weather either, because something that people don't recognize in the NFL, a team is responsible for the balls that they use when they're on offense, meaning you can bring as many game balls as you could possibly ever want to use to an away game. Meaning New England is responsible for New England's footballs, Indianapolis is responsible for theirs. They have to be between 12.5 and 13.5 psi. I don't know the formula for weighing all this. I'm by no means a mathematician, but there is a very strict rule on how inflated these balls can be. New England's balls were weighed at 9 PSI.
Now, one big thing that a lot of people don't understand is, what does the difference make? Mark Brunell, Troy Aikman all said it provides a huge advantage, and Mark Brunell, just listening to him, was absolutely livid when he found out that Tom Brady denied how he didn't like his balls and how he had no idea what size they were or how inflated they were. Just absolutely livid. I've never seen somebody get that mad over balls.
Another thing that came up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Oakland Raiders in 2003 in the Super Bowl. At the 10-year reunion of that, their quarterback, Brad Johnson, said that he paid off somebody $7,500 to get the footballs, quote, the way that he likes them, meaning a little bit less inflated, so that he knows exactly the grip and he has, all of his specifications. He wasn't forced to say this, but at the 10-year reunion, I don't know if it was a guilty conscience or if he was just rambling and it happened to come out, but that came out 2 years ago. No one really heard a lot about it until now, and now it's a big deal.
For sure. Yeah, because like I said, it provides a huge athletic advantage. A lot of the quarterbacks and Hall of Famers who were grabbing the footballs and doing tests on them said they noticed a distinct advantage when they did hold the balls that were different PSIs. And obviously I'm talking about quarterbacks, not wide receivers. But also Jerome Bettis said if he was running, it was a lot easier for him to hold one that was less PSI because it was impossible for people to knock out the ball, right? So, I mean, against Seattle, if it was New England versus Seattle, it provided a huge advantage. And reports were suggesting that this happened in the Ravens game also, and that was a lot closer game than what the Colts game ended up being.
Now, I had a conversation with my dad for about an hour and a half yesterday about this before I went to sleep. What he's doing up at that hour, I don't know. But what we were talking about is how this could affect Brady and Belichick's, how they're remembered, what their legacy will be in the National Football League. Of course, if they win this year, that'll be their 4th Super Bowl title, 6th trip to the big game. I was in the camp that desperate times require desperate measures, meaning if you're not confident that you'll even get to the Super Bowl, and, Tom Brady hasn't won one in the last 10 years, we'd like to remind people, That's a big deal. You win 3 Super Bowls in your first 4 seasons in the league, and despite the fact that Tom Brady is regarded as one of the best quarterbacks of all time, I'll put him up there. I'm not calling him the best by any means, but he's in the top 5. He's certainly in the conversation.
Just can't get it done recently.
It is a what have you done for me recently league, and though he has been the MVP and he's not won less than 10 games in an NFL season in his career, and the Patriots have won 6 AFC East titles, if he finishes with only 3 Super Bowls, I think they will be remembered as having dramatically underperformed in the back half of his career.
Especially with Spygate and everything resonating from that, with Deflategate, Spygate. I think it leaves it tarnishes his image as a quarterback, and also with Bill Belichick. I mean, this is a guy who is respected by his peers, but recently he's come under a lot of fire, and I believe it was Rob Ryan who said this is as bad as Watergate in retrospect to the NFL, and something needs to be done by Roger Goodell. And I mean, the Seahawks players are absolutely livid because Marshawn Lynch is told that he'll get suspended for wearing gold cleats, but for doing this and getting an athletic advantage, nothing is done to the Patriots thus far.
No, there's something to be said that, Bill Belichick is widely regarded as the best head coach in professional football today, perhaps even all time. There aren't many people, though, in the media or otherwise that would invite Bill Belichick over to their house, not just because he's so snippy with the media, but because he's also regarded as just a very not nice person to be around at all.
Agreed.
I wonder if something comes from this, if there's some sort of substantiated evidence that they get saying that Belichick was involved in this in any way. I don't think he would be suspended, but certainly his legacy, like they would lose a draft pick, but his legacy would be more of a cheater, like confirmed twice.
Yeah.
More of a cheater and a bad person, more than just someone that people don't like to be around. He's recognized as a football genius.
Yeah.
And when the business is to make money, and you make money by winning big games, that's great. But there comes a point where you can only put up with so much. And Robert Kraft runs that franchise. He cares an incredible amount about what people perceive of that franchise and, to be winners. But you have to keep him around. But I think that's a difficult choice to make if you're management looking at the, how your brand is viewed in society as a whole, with this happening twice.
And another big thing is that Jerry Rice and a bunch of other NFL legends have said if they do win the Super Bowl, there should be an asterisk next to it, right? And I mean, that's not even close to what happened here with Spygate. I mean, we're gonna move on from this. Super Bowl predictions, Chris. Who are you taking?
I'm taking the Seahawks. I think it'll be a low-scoring game in the first half, and then things will open up. Let's go 27-20 Seahawks.
I'm gonna say 27-24 Seahawks on a last-second field goal, just because I feel like Seattle likes to do everything in dramatic fashion recently. Russell Wilson, I mean, I've always had my doubts about him, and I mean, recently I even said he's not even in a top 10 quarterback, but bouncing back the way he did after throwing 4 interceptions, that's remarkable, and that shows what kind of leader he is and what kind of player he is too. Plus, I don't think the Patriots' defense is as good, can really stop Marshawn Lynch. With how Seattle ball hawks you, I feel like they'll get some turnovers too.
I really don't want New England to win, but whoever comes out the winners of this game is going to have cemented some sort of legacy. Either it's Tom Brady and Belichick winning 4 Super Bowls together, or it's Seattle establishing themselves as the next dynasty. 2 in a row, Russell Wilson, 2 Super Bowl rings in 3 seasons. It's huge.
Back-to-back, and I mean, a lot of those players are going to get paid. Now, we're going to move on to some hoops action. This has been an odd year for basketball fans, as a lot of big-name players have been injured. LeBron's out a couple games, but even early on in the season, Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook were both out for a number of games, and it's really hurt the Oklahoma City Thunder, who were practicing with 8 guys at one point. Scott Brooks couldn't even run a proper scrimmage. They fell to 14th, 13th in the West, and now they're up to 9th and 10th, and they're battling to get back into a position, and they will be the most deadly 7th or 8th seed of all time.
I think Oklahoma City will certainly turn it around in a hurry, getting those core guys back. I think, though, that the guy that means the most to his team, we don't know how long exactly he's going to be out for, but LaMarcus Aldridge in Portland.
It's believed. I think
it's believed to be 6 to 8 weeks at least.
Yeah. To be honest, I think they can sustain it though, if they get some bench help. I mean, if Thomas Robinson lives up to the potential that he has, Myers Leonard, I think, can fill in adequately too. I mean, they're not going to be LaMarcus Aldridge, but I feel like Damian Lillard has established himself as a star in this league and a guy who can lead a franchise. And with all their scoring depth and Nick Batum and Wesley Matthews, I feel like they can sustain it.
I think they're certainly a good team. They'll probably be above 500 during this stretch. But when you think of how brutal the West is to play in, Portland is in second place in the Western Conference right now. They're only 6 games up on 8th.
No, I feel like they'll definitely slip, but I feel like they'll be able to keep themselves in that 5th to 6th slot. But I mean, San Antonio is starting to play a lot better. Oklahoma City is starting to play a lot better. Phoenix is starting to get healthy too. So I mean, a lot of these teams are looking dangerous now.
Yep, fair enough. It's announced today that Kobe Bryant will likely miss the rest of the regular season with a torn rotator cuff in the shoulder. In an interview after he found out about this, he said that the injury was him passing too much. How do you feel about that, Amar? This is your boy. This is your team. You love the Lakers. Tell me.
Well, I'm glad this happened in, his 18th or 19th season because, I mean, had he passed a lot more, we would have gotten a lot more torn rotator cuffs. So it's a good thing he shot the ball as much as he did. I mean, it's okay that he has the most missed shots in NBA history, but that's my guy. And I've never said this about a player, but I hope he doesn't come back this season. I hope he rests, figures it out for next season. The Lakers add a few more pieces, and they try and make a competitive run.
Something that people don't remember is that if the Lakers are good enough, they won't get a first-round pick.
Yeah. So
the Lakers have to finish in the bottom 6 in the NBA in order for them to actually get a pick, or else it's deferred.
Yeah, it goes to, I believe, Phoenix, right?
Yep, it goes to the Phoenix Suns. And there was a point there about maybe mid-December where they were actually looking pretty good. They weren't great, but they were playing 500 basketball, which would have been enough to pull them out of the gutter. Now, with Nick Young leading the way, he's gonna put up 45 points a game. He's the second greatest player of all time behind Brian Scalabrine.
Swaggy P. But anyways, I really hope the Lakers do tank. I don't like to say that about a team, but I hope they're competitive nonetheless, and they're able to put up a battle. But I don't think they have enough talent that they can really win games. And I hope they can add another big man and kind of shore up their rotation with maybe Jahlil Okafor. Who knows?
This is a pretty deep draft. Yeah. I don't see Jahlil Okafor going anywhere other than Philadelphia or New York, but that would be a very good situation for the Lakers
if they jump up,
where you could get Kobe Bryant back, put him with a very capable scorer in Swaggy P, Nick Young, get Julius Randle, who played one game in his rookie year and is injured with a broken leg. That's a substantially improved Lakers team. You pretty much snap your fingers. You have a completely different look on your offense. You have a completely different energy around the team. And when Kobe comes off the books, they'll have a lot of money to use. Perhaps Kevin Love.
I hope so. And to be honest, there's a lot of good big men, I mean, from Kentucky and from Duke and from a lot of these teams coming out. And with Julius Randle already there, adding a center would shore up things. You have Swaggy P at the small forward position for another year at least, and then you have Kobe at shooting guard. Point guard would also be a really good idea, but I mean, Rajon Rondo's available, so who knows?
Rajon Rondo, Goran Dragic. I think you guys will be all right.
I would love Goran Dragic. That's my guy. Anyways, that's it for us here at the CBG show. I'm Amar Khan.
Chris Brentlinger Grant. See you guys next time. Thanks for listening.
It's raining so hard today.